Hey everybody, welcome to the 310 QuickPod. My name is Coach Kris, and this is like one of the best things I can ever imagine. My mind is blowing, and you are watching this happen real time. I am with one of my favorite humans in the entire world. It will be hard for me not to spend 20 straight minutes telling you how much I love this dude and his young progeny who is in the room. But this is Coach Terry Poirier, and I will talk at length in a second. His son, ZJ Poirier, is in the house. Why don't you say hi to everybody?
Hey, everyone.
That ghost voice is ZJ sitting over in the corner. This is the man who first challenged me in Colorado Springs to get into the weight room. He was my PE teacher. Mm-hmm. And
seems like a good idea for you to do.
Yeah, well, I was skinnier than any other being inside of there, smaller, weaker in probably every way, but this is the man. I for sure feel like CrossFit 310, every bit of knowledge that I have is a legacy from what this man first introduced to me. This is Coach Terry Poirier. Say hi to everybody.
Hi, everybody.
Awesome. Well, I mean, there is almost no point other than to talk about relationship. I do want to talk about I want to talk about coaching with you. My esteem of the word coach has changed over the years, and you can't believe how proud I am when people call me coach.
Very true.
And there was only one man that I addressed as coach, like it was his first name, and it was you. And now people do it with me. Awesome. All the time, and I could not be more proud of it.
I'm very proud of you.
So here's what I want to do. I would love to have you talk a little bit about, can you tell me about becoming a coach? I don't even know if I know the origins of that. Talk about becoming a coach.
Well, I was blessed to have kind of a similar situation with my high school football coach especially, and I started college like a lot of guys not knowing exactly where I was going to end up. Started in veterinary medicine.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, but
there's one I didn't know.
I wasn't smart enough, and I spent all my time in the gym, and one day being in the gym, I went, what am I doing? I need to be a PE teacher and a coach, because that's what I did want to do. And so that's how I got there, and I, for 41 years, really never worked a day in my life. Coaching and teaching PE was not work for me.
That is amazing. How do you must, we haven't talked, I guess, at length about this, but do you feel like you have a legacy with how many kids? I mean, it must be mind-boggling. Have you ever sat down and be like, man, on an average year, I coach this many kids in either PE or a football team or a basketball team or something? I mean, how many kids have you made an impression on?
Well, I've never done it, but when I did retire from coaching, and now I'm unretired and back coaching, but when I did, one of the moms called me and she questioned me about how many years I'd coached and where, and how many kids did I think that I coached, on average per year, and then at a retirement celebration, I guess I'd call it, that they did, she had the number. And it was pretty mind-boggling. I'm not saying, I impacted every single kid.
No.
But there, I think that's why any coach does it. It's about relationships with terrific, and the opportunity to coach my own sons was, even more off the chart than, every coach would say I don't have favorites, but Kris Germain, Troy Stewart, pretty top shelf.
Wow.
And and there's no other way to say it other than you just develop a special relationship with certain people more than others. That's a given. But tried to treat players and students alike.
Oh man,
fair.
You brought up Troy. This is a good buddy of mine, and the reason I want to bring it up, we were talking about it in the gym, is so I really wanted to be a basketball player. At some point, that sport just became so beautiful to me that I didn't want anything else. I played everything else. I played soccer. I played track. I tried hockey. I loved to play, and I think I loved watching movement everywhere. I could see the joy of being, like, when I would watch sports, I'm like, oh my gosh, that must be so much fun to have an excellence inside of that and to express it that way. I wouldn't have said it that way when I was little, but so you somehow, I think must have been through the weight room, as I think the weight room did the weight room happen before basketball? It did, right?
For you?
For me, yeah. I think you pulled, because you were my PE teacher, and Coach Chalfant, who I love, was my basketball coach.
Right,
you were coaching the women's basketball team at our high school at the time.
Yep.
But I think you pulled me into the weight room first. But then, I mean, this guy knows, you can't believe how this guy can play. And he loved to play. He was playing all the time. He could do things with the basketball with the smallest hands ever in the world, like so small, like everything that you did, like your stature, you were big, but man, could you play. And
thank the Lord.
Yeah.
Kind of.
But you gave me drills. You said, if you want to get good, you do these drills, and you need to you need to be able to do this and this and this, and you gave me drills to do it. Yep. And you knew that I wanted to play. I was not good enough to play in varsity, but I became that, right? And it took me twice as long as everybody else. But another thing aside from doing that is you just love to play. And so he grabbed a wrestler. Troy Stewart is a wrestler.
Good one.
He was a good wrestler. But more importantly, he had spent time in the gym together, and he had a friendship. And I don't know, was I a sophomore or junior? I must have been a junior. I was a junior at this time. And maybe Rob Hellam, Rob Hellam, who becomes this incredible basketball player, one of my best friends. And man, could that kid play. But you would say, why don't you and Rob Hellam take on me and Troy? And we would play 2-on-2. And we ended up calling them grudge matches. But we played so much. And
hard.
We played hard.
Nobody didn't want to lose.
I know. It was, well, that was a thing. We played hard, and there was some blood every once in a while. And I'm a pretty soft kid, I just wasn't raised like that. And I remember getting so mad at you. But we loved to play. And I'm saying all of this because it was time together. It was a relationship.
Oh, yeah, a lot of time together. Yeah.
It was so many hours together.
Jumping the stairs.
Yeah.
That was plyometrics before there was plyometrics.
Yeah. Well, you taught me so much about physical activity. You taught me about strength. You taught me about mental toughness. You gave me drills to practice so that I could hone skills. And then you made it fun. All of those things, everything that we were talking about is what I do in this place. That is the undergirding of all of this place. If somebody is going to be there, literally the hours that I spend with them mean something. Just get here. If I can make this place a place that we do hard things, but it's not so intimidating that you wouldn't come. If we know what to do with you at any stage, whether you're strong, whether you're big, whether you're small, whether, even if you have some injurious stuff going on. But if we can just spend hours together, I know that there will be development. And if we can have a good time, We say that we take movement seriously, but we don't take ourselves very seriously at all. And that is born out of time with you. Like, this whole place stands on what you showed me.
That's pretty kind.
Well, it's potent.
It stands because of who you are and your relationship with Christ, and that translates into loving other people. Yeah. That's what life's about. And, we're blessed to do what we do if we like it. Especially, a lot of people don't like their jobs, and I feel bad for them. But the whole relationship thing is what it's supposed to come down to. Bottom line,
that is the most incredible thing, and that's why the word coach means so much. Like, it is. If somebody refers to me as their coach, I'm like, oh my gosh, the legacy that goes with that. It says something about relationship. I ask people constantly. I'm like, trust your coach. Just come with me. Like, I'm going to show you. Like, at first you won't know what to do. You just won't know what to do with me. I'm going to ask you to do things you would never ask yourself to do, like you did with me.
Yeah, that's right.
You know what I mean? And I'm like, sometimes I'm hating every second of it, but what we were talking about, like, I remained the skinniest kid ever in high school, but this man taught me how to box out, and the strength from deadlifts and squats helped me keep somebody on my hip in a way that other kids my size would have just gotten blown out of there. So,
well, you were very athletic. You were an athletic kid.
That's true. I had some athleticism.
And you had speed. And,
that was the wind pushing me along fast. There's a fan on.
But isn't it great that we are so blessed with a body that does function and does what we want it to do?
Yeah.
And we got to keep it that way.
Yeah.
To the best of our abilities.
So one of the things that impresses, I love it so much. It's so fun. No matter if we're in your kitchen in Colorado Springs and you're feeding me coffee, which is so fun. Oh my gosh, what a great gift. It makes me coffee and some cookies. It's so good. I love it.
Homemade cookies.
Oh, this is so good. But whether we're there or whether we're here, like, I can see your brain and its electricity turn on when you see gym equipment. And and you're talking about movement stuff. Like, you are one of the most interesting things to me about you. And I'm certain that it resides in me because I was around you. But you are a preacher. You have conviction on patterns and what's good for people and how you are going to ask people to come with you. Can you speak to that at all?
I don't know, Kris. That's interesting because it became a passion. When I was growing up, I just loved being active, and then I had a good coach and good PE teacher, and then I got into my PE major, and that became my passion. It still is. I mean, just like you, how can I help you move better? And as you get older, you appreciate it even more because things go south sometimes a little bit. And in the meantime, you're right. It's something that either really turns you on. Some people get turned on by technology and whatever else. But for us, it's being active and moving and staying in shape and trying to help other people do the same thing.
Yeah, it's amazing. Like, since he came into my gym, he was always building something. That's something that you did not give me, but we just didn't have time, or we spent our time doing other things. I am the least handy person that has ever existed. Sorry, wife. I am so sorry still. But you're always inventing workout devices, and your brain is going constantly. It's always creating. And Z's over here nodding. I can't imagine how many things were on the side of the house or things. He was just trying anything. You're like a mad scientist with like rubber and steel.
Still to this day, every time I come home, I'm trying new gym equipment out.
He just told us about 2 things that he built that he was having people do and the response that it was getting. And he was like, Z, you use that one.
Try it out.
So funny, man. Yeah, I think that's I don't know. That's mentally you are always engaged, and I appreciate that so much. You are never sitting on the thing that is once known and embraced and saying, this is it, this is where we stand. You are always pursuing what are people learning and how are people doing that, and how you generously ask me questions all of the time, and you also generously hold your tongue when you're like, that's the dumbest thing I've ever heard.
I've never felt that way. But it's like you said, we like to talk about the dynamics of what do you see here, and what is your take on this? And when I do ask you things like that, I want to know what you're thinking, because I know you're an expert, and it's a study. It's a very scientific study. It's not a real complex study like we were talking about, a real complex science, although the body is very complex. But it doesn't
have to be. When you're translating it to people, like, it's infinitely complex. Yeah, but it's probably a mistake to make it so. Is that what you mean?
That's perfect. Yeah, and I love teaching people about their body, and that people love to learn about their body and how it works. And if they're worth the salt, they do. But you mentioned, and I was going to say, there's another saying, and Kris knows I really like, motivational slogans and stuff like that. And I think you're the same. I know you're the same way as me. I don't care what you look like. I don't care if you're overweight or underweight or just right in your mind. It doesn't matter if you're working out. I'm pulling for you.
Yeah,
and that's I think that's who we are.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep. I have felt that since my freshman year in high school. It might have been 8th grade. I don't know. When did you give me that?
Yep.
8th grade?
Yep.
Was it 8th? Oh, my goodness.
It took, and as I've told a couple of his coaches, it took a little prodding, but it also took a little prodding with my own son.
Yeah.
And now they're
a lot of prodding, probably.
But you guys have done great, and I love you both. And
man, you are, I got to tell you this again, like, ZJ has been coming visiting. He would come visit when he got into CrossFit. He came and visit, and he's so fun and he's so athletic, and he is. I just told him that I'd love him to be part of this gym in any way, any capacity, because of who he is. He loves to move. He loves to play. I see. That comes out. Like, it's all fun. You know what I mean? Like, I don't ever feel like there's a moment when he's working out. The open workouts are the most that we have worked out around each other, but I don't know. He's like, it's like, that was miserable. It was great. Let's do it again soon. And he's safe. He'll let me, add something if I see something inside of there, but he brings something to the room every time, and it's a total joy. And I'll tell you one thing that I miss out on, because I left Colorado, I moved away, and I was not able to come witness your games and to sit next to you and just celebrate your sons and maybe hold you down so you wouldn't stand up and start.
That's what would have happened.
This guy's fiery. I mean, this guy's really fiery. That is interesting. Like there is such a difference in personality.
Yeah.
But it's another reason why I just appreciate you. Like, we would articulate things much differently at varying points in how we are engaging people. But the root DNA of what we are doing, I can feel it. I can feel it all the time, and it was the stuff that stuck with me.
Yeah, we had a good time.
Oh my gosh.
Fabulous.
It is so fun to remember this. DJ, tell me. You guys keep your dad safe. I'm sure you got a lot. You have any anecdotes from something that sticks out in your head as like your dad as a coach while you were growing up? What was it like to watch your dad as a coach? Like, it'll be a different perspective for sure. Or what was it like being coached by him? Which is it's different.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, growing up in the gym. That's like all my memories is every day we're in the gym. You know,
you were there when Kris was in high school, and you were just a little guy. You were there.
Yeah, exactly. I mean,
when he was there.
Yep. It was. I saw Bucky like throw up once. Like he went over to the thing and threw up, and I'm like, Coach, your son threw up. Like, he threw up, and you're like, he'll be okay. Like, that's so. Like, you know what I mean? Like, I was like, I'm like, wait, what? I'd have been out. I'd have been out for 2 weeks. I'd have been like, like, I think you invented the phrase "rub some dirt on it and get back in there."
You'd feel better.
Yeah,
yeah. I mean, that's what it was. It was just life in the gym. This is just what I knew. It's everything, and I think that just translated into my later life. And obviously, being coached by your dad is always going to be a little bit more intense.
Yeah.
I would say. But yeah, just knowing how much every athlete that he coached and every student, you know, always looked up to him, always called him coach. You know, I mean, you weren't the only one.
Sure.
I grew up with
everybody
everyone
did.
calling him. I
everyone.
thought his first name might have been Coach for the longest time.
That's exactly right.
Yeah. So yeah, it was a good experience, and obviously it kept me in the gym and kept me working out and moving as a kid. And
is there anything? Oh, this is a good one. Is there anyone? Because he's got a million quotes of like motivational quotes, or you know, the one that always sticks out to me. Oh, I'm not even going to say it right, but you're like, if you're not working hard, you can bet somewhere else, sometime else, somebody else is working.
And when you meet him, he will beat you.
Yeah.
True, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. I mean, that's one that definitely stands out because I've heard it a lot growing up.
The desire to win is useless without the desire.
Oh
to
yeah, that's another one.
That was up in the weight room, and it was in every weight room of every high school I ever coached at. I put it up in the weight room. Say it
again. I was probably talking over you.
The desire to win is useless without the desire to prepare.
Yeah.
Some say to prepare to win, but
right.
Prepare. That's what you do, is you prepare people for life every day. Because if you don't attack life, it'll overtake you and stomp on you sometimes, you know, right?
Right.
So I think the outlet for us is working out and feeling good about that accomplishment. And for you, I know it is a huge piece is to help other people.
Yeah.
And, you know, that's a blessing for those people.
Well, I was telling him it goes both ways. Like, what were you saying? Like, you enjoy standing next to somebody while they are experiencing a moment that may change them forever. And it's not even necessarily that I did that. Like, we're just trying to set the stage for it all the time. Do you know what I mean? Like, there's this great quote about, like, I'm not necessarily teaching them or, that I'm just next to them, like, at this specific moment, because there's so much more of life, but you can glean these things. And when you see somebody catch something, oh my gosh, there's so much satisfaction in it. And go ahead.
Yeah, sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt. The last high school I coached at, probably the wildest celebration we ever had in our weight room was one of our kids hit a personal record and broke the school record for the deadlift, trap bar deadlift.
The record screech.
And then to see his teammates and the coaches that were in there just go nuts for him, for just kind of what you're saying.
Yeah, it's an incredible thing to be a part of over and over again, and setting the stage for that, and then knowing that if somebody doesn't have, like, if you don't witness that thing, that, because sometimes they come back and they're like, well, something happened and you don't remember it, you know what I mean? But something happened and this has stayed with me for so long. So that even at the very least, you have hours of relationship with people, and you're laughing and you're talking about this being a lifestyle thing, right? Like this, like something that would stick with you for a long time because you enjoy movement, and sometimes you have to teach people to enjoy. You had to teach me how to and push me to enjoy that.
Knowing that you'd either get so you loved it, or you'd go, not for me, and that's okay too. But much rather see the other thing happen,
right?
Which it did with you,
It did. Yeah. It did indeed. Well, we better land this plane. And what an honor to just sit with you and talk. And oh my gosh, having both of you guys around and to be able to just kind of honor the legacy that you have. Not like Z says, man, I'm not the only person that called you coach. So, what an incredible thing. And I tell the story all the time. So it's fun to record this thing, and it may reach out, and I'll get to send it to a couple of my buddies. We'll send it to Troy.
There you go.
It might just be me, Troy. It might just be us. That everyone else is already off this thing. But I love you, and I'd love to talk with you, and I think about you a lot here. So thanks, Coach.
Well, I think everybody that I talked to saying I was coming out to see our son for his birthday and be here for that, and the next thing I tell them I was going to get to see you. So most of them didn't know who you were. But I explained the
guy at the grocery store is like, huh?
That's awesome.
It's good, sir.
Yeah. They were happy for me.
Oh, man. All right. Well, hey, thank you guys for joining us inside of this QuickPod. This one is so valuable to me, and I really love what like the idea behind putting this anywhere that somebody might run into it is, even if you don't know me, even if you don't know this man or his awesome sons too, by the way. If Bucky was here, Bucky, we'd be saying the exact same thing with you sitting here too. But it could be that you are a coach and you are burned out. It could be that you may not have measured the amount of impact that you have on somebody. It also could be that you are somebody who is thinking about coaching. And I can tell you that it is a worthy pursuit, and the impact that you'll have on people's lives could last years and years and years, and that legacy is worth it. So thanks for the conversation. Thank you guys. Love you both.
Thank you.
That's it.
Awesome. That was amazing.